Chapter 7 True Loss. As soon as the three friends reached the harbor, they were welcomed aboard a big ship, finally rid of the sloops. The sailors were already notified by Tom regarding their quest. "Come, my friends, we will take them to Memelian. We will stand beside them and save this world." The captain was extremely motivated and determined. Memelian was already visible from the harbor's standpoint, therefore it took only 15 minutes to get there. Unlike most places in Rosium, Memelian was known for its modern architecture. The tallest skyscrapers, most extraordinary mansions, and a harbor occupied by metal ships. While they had sailed with a wooden one, Memelian had ships like the ones in Rotterdam. Everything was built in a modern way, and it seemed like everyone on Memelian was as rich as could be. Rosium had already been a wonderful place to live, seeing as poverty never really was a thing. The architecture even outdid that from the real world, or at least compared to most places on Earth. "That's something I didn't see coming," Haru said. "Rosium is full of surprises," Julia said. The three started their search. Luckily, the sailors lent them a hand by aiding them in the search. Everyone separated and went their own way, going past each house, skyscraper, and mansion there was. After a while, Haru, Julia, and Maya found each other again. "Any luck?" Haru asked. "Nothing," Maya replied. Now that the three were together, and they were in a more open area, people started noticing them. "It's them, the ones who defeated Mordor! Blimey, it is!" People started clapping. Somehow they all knew who the three were. "Hooray! Thank you for your bravery!" They kept receiving compliments, and people came closer and asked to shake their hands. "You saved all of Rosium, thank you. I heard of your stories beyond the portals. Astonishing work. Just marvelous." But something was off to them. "You're Haru, right?" "Yeah, that's me." "Say, where's Drake?" He couldn't be here today," Julia said. "Is he alright?" "He is," Maya said before one of the others could tell the truth. With what they were about to say, enough chaos would already be caused. "We need to ask everyone something very important. Where can we reach the most people?" "I'd say at the square, a few streets ahead." "Thank you. I ask you all to gather there. You all deserve to know what's coming." Worried for what was to come, the people and the three friends headed to the square. Once they were there, Maya called for everyone's attention. As soon as everyone had turned to her, she started talking. "Your world, our world, is in danger. On December 31st, midnight, a new ice age will begin. The world will fall into an eternal cold and will remain unsustainable to all life. But we know the solution. We've been traveling across Rosium to find out what the initials CK stand for. If we succeed in finding CK, we can stop this. But our journey has led us nowhere, so we'll ask for your help. If you know anything, let us know. I'm sorry to tell you of this threat, but we need everyone to work together." It was quiet for a while, but something unexpected happened. The people of Memelian raised their hands and made fists. Everyone joined in. The gestures implied that they would fight with them, something the three understood easily. Each and every citizen was prepared to help. The saviors of Rosium needed their help to protect both worlds, and instead of remaining at home in the presence of family, friends, and loved ones, they were going to fight. This was a touching moment for all three. They finally gained hope, as more and more people were willing to aid the fight. "You will have our eyes, our ears, our fists, for you are not alone," someone in the crowd started saying. Despite the news, the people were determined. "Spread out, visit each house, apartment, send letters, still the seas. If this CK is a solution, we will find him, her, it, no matter the cost." While everyone spread up, Haru, Julia, and Maya were still perplexed after seeing everyone's reaction. Soon enough, they headed out as well and continued the search, knocking on every door, walking down every path, asking about CK. But once again, no luck. Not a single bit of useful information, no tip, no clue. After a long day, it was time to get proper sleep. A hotel, remarkably enough, was generously offered to them. During the time that it took them to fall asleep, it was constant contemplating answers and solutions, but nothing helped. They had nothing. The next morning in Aquana. "Hello, Tom?" Hung was knocking on Tom's door, which opened soon after. "Hung, my friend, come in," Tom said. "Tom, I think I found something." "About CK? You're really spending time on that?" "Pfft, I might be grumpy and usually self-involved, but the end of the world is everyone's business." "Don't forget old." "Hey, who are you to speak?" "Haha, just a joke, my friend." I'm so gonna outlive you, just you see. Haha, alright. Say, can I offer you a drink? One cocoa, please, thanks. While Tom went to get some warm chocolate milk for his friend, Hong looked around. The walls in Tom's house were barely visible because of all the pictures he'd hung up. It was clear he lived a full life and had experienced many things. It made Hong think about his own. He had stories but would have wished he lived a life more like Tom's. One with family would have been nice. Tom and Hong were in their late years and had many stories behind them. Hong wondered if the world would be saved, how long would he have afterwards? Tom came back with Hong's drink. Don't you think it's a little warm for cocoa, by the way? Tom asked. Haven't you seen? Seen what? You just opened the door. Didn't see anything peculiar outside? My eyes aren't what they used to be. Tom, move your curtains and take a look outside. Tom put down the drink and walked up to the window. He shoved the curtains out of the way and was shocked by what he saw. Tonight, water turned to ice and rain to snow. Aquana is a popsicle, Tom. Unusual words to describe it? I picked up on a few rumors. Taraku is no longer a desert. What? It's covered in snow, and Dragonia is worse. I heard they all had to lock themselves up in the palace because there's no other place they could hide from the cold. Well, that's an unfortunate turn of events. Tonight the climate shifted in unnatural and abnormal ways. I don't think it's nature that's behind this. Then what do you think? Sit down, Tom. This might be a little difficult for you to take in. Haha, you jerk. As they both took a seat on the couch, Hong started telling Tom what he knew. When those children came to my tower the other day, why was Drake not with them? Of course, you don't know yet. They arrived here with Drake, but he wasn't doing very well. He's here? In the infirmary, yes. So what happened? Drake was stuck, fighting something I think you might recall having seen before. We called it Dark Nights. Hong was shocked to hear those words. Really? The last time we saw someone struggling with that was, I know, years ago. But while it took her weeks, Drake showed magnificent determination and strength, and he got out. Already? Yeah, surprisingly enough. But he's asleep for now. Who knows how long that may take. Okay, good to know he got out though. Now, what I wanted to talk about. Tell me. I went through some history books and found something that could possibly be the answer to everything. Several years ago, Dragonia was ruled by a queen, or well, she kept Dragonia safe. But one day she vanished, never to be heard of again. Her name was Claire. And her last name? No idea. It's like when she vanished, almost everything about her disappeared like it never existed. So where is this going? I think CK stands for something else other than her full name. Claire, the Queen. Tom felt like Hong just said something very stupid. Hong, in case you don't know, Queen is written with a Q. Hong started leaning forward and looked Tom straight in his eyes like he was about to say something terribly clever. Not where Drake is from. Tom was surprised to hear Hong actually say something that made sense. Queen is written with a K in Dutch. Well, would you look at that? Though I wouldn't get your hopes up. This is just speculation, but hear me out. Who became the ruler of Dragonia after Claire left? Well, Calypso. So do you think she might have known this Claire? Wouldn't surprise me, but why hasn't Calypso said anything? Well, can't blame her for not hearing a bell ring after seeing those initials. You sure? I don't think Calypso knows anything, to be honest. If she did, she could have told others everything about this. It's not like her to hold back on something like this, unless she's covering something up. Exactly. But what? Maybe she had no choice. Maybe she had to protect. What is it? Holmes sat completely still for a few seconds until he quickly rose up. He took a few quick steps towards the door, went back for his cocoa, grabbed the mug, drank and slightly burned his tongue before he went back to the door again. Where are you going? To my tower. I have to do some research. Hong opened the door and stormed outside. Hong! I'll be back soon. Hong ran through the snow, towards his tower. It seemed like he really was onto something. That crazy idiot might actually save the world. A few days were left. Back with Haru, Julia and Maya, the tension was rising. The fact that Vermilion was suddenly covered in snow raised some questions. Dark clouds were hovering over the island. It was cold and snowing. In the morning they tried to talk to the people one more time. They were hoping to reach new people. Julia was the one who was tasked with speaking to them that morning. She told everyone the same story Maya had told, and while there were a few who seemed shocked, implying they hadn't heard it yet, they didn't bite. There was no one who could provide them with anything. At that point, it just became tiring. While Julia kept trying to get information out of the people, Haru saw someone leaving the crowd. The figure, seemingly male, was wearing a raincoat and kept his face covered with a hood. Haru found it suspicious and went to check it out. "Where are you going?" Maya asked. "I'll be right back." Before Haru left the square and found his way through the crowd, Maya saw what had caught his attention, right before the man disappeared out of sight. Haru went after him through several alleyways. "Sir?" Haru said once he saw him further on, but the man didn't react. "Sir?" He started running, and Haru went after him. "Stop!" The man was faster, so Haru had to be smart. He launched himself with several blasts of air and prevented crash damage by aiming for the walls. As he did this multiple times, he kept getting closer to the man. Haru wondered why the man would run. Did he have something to hide? It took forever to get to him, due to the many narrow streets and alleyways. But eventually, the light returned as they entered an open area. It had started to snow harder and more. The clouds had become darker. The open area led nowhere. It was a dead end. The man ran until he reached the cliffside, with the ocean layer several meters below and rocky cliffs to prevent a safe fall. The man stopped and started shaking like he was in pain. "Wait!" It started snowing even harder and the storm kicked in. The clouds became louder and the skies brought down lightning. "Why?" The storm caused a strong wind and the sea was no longer quiet. The man fell on his knees and started groaning. He held his hands over his head and felt immense pain. Haru came closer, but the man couldn't allow that. After he felt better, he got up, still recovering from the pain. He took a few steps backwards. "Wait, no!" Haru started running as fast as he could when the man made himself fall backwards. "No!" Haru got to the edge and managed to grab a hold of the man's hand just in time, but he couldn't hold on for very long. Haru tried his very best to hold on, but knew he couldn't do it alone. "You're slipping, you have to pull yourself up." But the man didn't answer. He didn't try to get back up either. The thunder was loud, the lightning blinding, the snow hurt, but the wind revealed the worst. Haru hadn't seen the man's face yet, but when the wind blew away his hood, Haru had never been as shocked. "No." Haru couldn't hold on and the man's hand slipped. For Haru, all the final seconds slowed down. It became quiet. The snow slowed down, the wind wasn't felt, a bolt of lightning easy to spot, and the waves didn't move. He saw the man he recognized fall so slowly while his face remained visible. And after a few seconds, time went back to normal. The man crashed onto the rocks, not surviving the fall. After the rocks killed him, the ocean marked his grave. Haru couldn't say a word and couldn't move. He laid over the edge of the cliffside, staring at the man he recognized, sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Haru saw something horrific that day. He was troubled with a terrible task. How on earth was he ever going to tell his best friend what had happened? How was he ever going to tell him? Drake was now fatherless.